Well, hello everyone. It is Friday, the 11th of March, 2022. I'm Dale Delbridge, Benchmark Realty, Murfreesboro, Tennessee, and I have your numbers. Now, middle segment went a little bit long, so I better not be talking a whole lot here, but it's just important to understand a basic concept that all real estate is local, and when you try to fish your information out, you have to really have drilled down deeply into the location type of information and separating it from the national trends and the opinions that you hear. A lot of those are they're just not appropriate to our unique condition here in Middle Tennessee, which I explain in about 8 minutes over the middle segment. So let's not be here all night. I know you don't want to do that either. So let's do our middle segment, come back, get the numbers. Well, hello everyone. Welcome to the middle segment. Now, unlike most days when I bring a story from the internet where I'm just kind of giving a little bit of personal interpretation of what I see, what I'm reading when I get it, I don't have one of those today, so I can't give you the link in the status chat in which that story appeared. But what I do have for you is a little bit more explanation that we deal with in the current environment, because all real estate is local. That's true. But what also is true is we don't live in a vacuum. Now, right now, everyone knows who's been trying to do any kind of real estate activity knows that we have a supply side problem. We just don't have enough inventory. And to add insult to injury, we're having the Great Migration. Some people may call it the Great Reset. But the Great Migration, people that are coming from high-tax states such as California, or New York, New Jersey, Michigan, these type of places, very oppressive, high tax, they're going, oh my gosh, Middle Tennessee, that's the place I want to be. And if they ever come down here to visit one time, they're coming here to live. I mean, I'm just about convinced of that. If they ever see how great Middle Tennessee is, they come down here and just got to stay. And it's just a point. Now, what we've been going through the last couple of little bits is that those places that are selling their homes because inflation is high and development's high and the cost of building is high and everything's high, their prices are a premier. They are a premium market out there. Now, people are able to take their homes, in many cases, sell them, get that cash money, come to Middle Tennessee, and be the strongest bid for a piece of property. And if you've been looking for a home, it's hard to find and want to even find a home to put a contract in that you can then be turned down and be disappointed over, because they're just that hard to find, because people with money are beating you out. Now, I want to show you something, because you need to understand all real estate is local. All markets are local. I check the price of a house based upon a growing circle around the property and trying to find as similar of a property as I can. And it's not an exact science, but we try to base it off of something other than raw emotion and just I want. So we get those comps and we generate that. And the further away that we take the same exact house, I can take an exact house, put it in, say, Murfreesboro or Rockville or Las Casas or one of the outside areas, that if I put it in toward the metro center of Davidson County, may not be worth the same amount of money, because we're seeing people also with the work from home, they're wanting a different type of home. Okay, just because you have so many square foot does not mean your 2,400 square foot is worth the same as the guy even in the same neighborhood, 2,400 square foot. If he might happen to have an extra room, even though they may be smaller rooms, if he can take one of them and turn it into a private office for a stay-at-home business, his home is worth more than your home that is an open floor plan. So even within it, there's just so much to this. But we get the base idea that the closer to home you are, the more valuable those comparisons are. Well, a lot of people are tired because they've lost a lot of bids. They've put in a lot of contracts and got nothing for them. So they're tired and they're wanting to quit. This is not the time to quit, I would say. We know we had another record month of inflation, and we know we have another short month on inventory, and we know the interest rates are going to slowly creep up. Not immediately, but slowly creep up. So where does that leave us? That certainly sounds like the recipe for another 2008 crash, bubble burst, with it all the way with the recovery through the next 2 years as people try to do the bankruptcies and get out and all that kind of stuff and get the bank homes kicked back in. We're not going to have that. We're not going to have that because most of the situation that caused it can't be repeated because we took care of it with Dodd-Frank and some of the other issues. but yet we still see the blue cities and the blue places, their prices are beginning to tip a little bit. I showed you an example of just one location. What happens when they don't sell out their homes so they relocate to Tennessee? If they get so high that the people in their area can't buy their homes, obviously they can't take their profits from their sale, their proceeds, and take them to Tennessee and buy a new house or two. So their slowing in their area may actually be a little bit of a good thing for you in your area. It may ease up some of that competition. They're still going to have more cash on average than we do to pay any differences like the cash gap, but it's still there. So is Middle Tennessee likely to have a bubble burst? Well, I have two pictures, two graphs. They come from the MLS, InfoSparks on our MLS, the Middle Tennessee area, and also from Trading Economics that used NAR data, or the National Association of Realtors. So let's look at this first chart. Now what we see here, let me put my pointer over here. Does this look like this is any kind of pattern whatsoever? We have some huge thing. Well, we know what happened around 2019. We had the big COVID over all of the nation, and this is two trends together. One is the U.S. existing home sales, that's the blue, and the dotted is the new constructions. And this is all property classes type thing, what we got going on here. But you see, it's up and it's down, and it's up and it's down, and we're going all over here. And we had this big swing because we had that big swing negative. We had a big swing positive, but then we kind of caught up with demand, and we kind of started going around. Now things happen. Got a little harder to build some stuff. We dropped off on some new homes, but our existing homes still trading, still coming up. But what do you see? Massive fluctuation from exogenous factors. Now, how do we see this in Tennessee? Okay, let's turn that picture down and look at Tennessee. Here's the data from InfoSparks, our MLS. Middle Tennessee, we are not quite like other markets. If you think that we're going to crash out and you're going to pick up a bargain, the data is not going to support that. It doesn't mean that if we see crash or adjustments in other areas that it may not affect our market. It may make things better if you have less competition and less cash coming into the program. It also may make it a little bit harder because some of the conditions that affect those environments we are not immune to. Fuel prices, food prices, replacement vehicles, and materials all go up. Anything that's inflationary, we have it, but we do have more demand because we are the number 3 place in the nation, Middle Tennessee that is, for people to want to come to. They come here, they love us, they want to stay. We can't get them to go back home. They come to Tennessee and buy a house, which is great, but it's making it hard for a lot of us to find houses. And what do we see here? We see right after the new year, see that 2017, it's cold and it's gray and it's not much fun. And then we start to pick up and we go through the green season, with green season, the money season, and then we taper off as we go into fall, and then we do it again. And pretty well much from 2017, 2018, 19, 20, 21, 22, we see a very stable pattern, even though nationally we've seen excesses. So when you try to do this alone and you're trying to filter the data, you don't necessarily have the understanding that someone who does this has. And that's why we're professionals. It's what we do. Now let's do one more chart where I lay these two together. And I lined them up pretty darn good. Here we are. We got that mark. I had to do some scaling on the screen grabs, but they do scale out year to year. And you see national trend and data, and all these people who form their opinion, who have given you a national outlook, they're not doing what I can do for you on the local level. And I'm telling you, we follow the overall trend as beautifully as anyone could hope us to be. Look at that. Right there we go. Same basic trend up, but we're very regular. So we're getting ready to go into the buying season, the showing season. Call me so that we can get your paperwork started, get yourself going, so that we can go out there and start fighting for you a new home. Or you can try it yourself. I would like to help you. So you know what you got to do. You got to call Dell to sell, call Dell to buy. We'll see what we can find for you. Hello, I'm Dell Delbridge of Benchmark Realty, Murfreesboro, Tennessee. If you are currently unrepresented and would like to know how to compare up to 3 properties side by side and room by room, then go over to my new YouTube channel, Call Dell to Sell. That's one L in Dell, no spaces. Watch the demo on Real Scout and then call me and we'll set up your exclusive ad-free account today. Glad we got all that out of the way. Let's look at what we had the preceding week, 3/4/2022. We had 74.99 opportunities in the Real Scout system. That was down over the previous period. 40.88 were the under contract still showing. That was down also over the previous period. And the ratio had improved from 56% to 55% last week. And this week we have, week of 3/11/22, we have 75.09. That's just slightly up by, I think, 10 units? Only 10 units. We had 41.30 in the under contracts still showing. That's up a little bit more than that, but the integer ratio between those two numbers did not change. They remained the same at 55%. So we're going to get into that rising period of activity because we're going to start getting green, and we need to get busy. And we just going to do that for you. Starting as soon as you contact us, we'll start putting stuff together behind the scenes so that we have something to present to you. Haste makes waste. When we bring it to you, we want it to be in good shape for your consideration. So we appreciate you watching. Have a great weekend. And it's supposed to snow tonight. Is that right? We're supposed to snow tonight. So stay dry and warm and make some popcorn, watch some TV or whatever. I'm sure you're not tired of Netflix by March. So appreciate you watching. See you next week.